Welcome everyone to the Man's Heart Online Congress, and my guest today is Melissa Louise. And hey Melissa, glad I'm having you here today.
Oh, it's so exciting to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Melissa is a leading pleasure advocate as an erotic blueprint, sex, intimacy, and relationship coach. And she has over 2 decades of experience supporting women to reclaim their birthright to feel alive, orgasmic, and turned on, no matter what their age or relationship status is. And she also helps men to understand their power, desire, find freedom, and even to make more money by lasting longer in bed. And Melissa disrupts patterns of self-hatred, self-denial, and self-abandonment by showing us the way home to our own sexual selves. I'm really excited about this interview today, and really curious about all your knowledge and wisdom you bring here. Yeah, and I'm really glad for your work, because I feel like it's really important for men and for women as well, of course, but especially men. I feel like we have a big lack of knowledge in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been completely separated from it. I mean, we're all fed lies. We've all been fed lies, but yeah, it's certainly the time now for men to be coming into their power.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, I'd love to if you would share a bit about your own life, Melissa, and what brought you to this place, to this work you're doing.
It's so interesting. It's whenever I get asked that question, I'm like on my knees crawling through the mud, blood on my fingernails. I felt like there was nothing left for me to do. And I'm saying that because I avoided it for so long, and the avoidance came from fear, really deep rooted. And I think it's also ancestral fear of, being punished, vilified. This is not something that we should be doing because you can't talk about sex. And yet in my whole life, I'm like, it's at the center of everything, and we won't talk about it. Our human body, no matter what we do, we take our human body there. And, when we're when I say buying and vying, like the way the system, well, definitely I know for me, and now witnessing what's going online, but, when I was raised in the, late 70s and 80s and 90s, it's like, everything you do is to position yourself to win the other. And it's like, well, okay. But once the clothes come off, and once, and also too, now it's even worse than what it was in the 80s and 90s. But once all of they really, you take off all of the layers that you're presenting, we're left with ourselves, and I was raised in Australia on the land. I was raised in, by a mother that was she presented to me the fearful side of Christianity, like especially being a woman, she was effing fucking scared. Like her first child, a daughter, holy shit, I'm going to bring shame to the family. I'm going to pull everything down. Whatever word comes, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, whatever I wear is going to then indicate what type of family we're in. I watched my brother not being raised with that pressure, which was really intriguing to me. And so it's all of this fear around existing on the planet. And I didn't get it. I was so what it did was raise a lot of anger in me. And so I felt and I really experienced this being raised in a Christian community, a farming community, an Australian community, was also the abandonment of the women towards women. So anything that went on needed to be hushed. Like I was sexually abused, 75%. The statistics are based on those that talk about it, not the reality. That, you don't talk about it. It must have been your fault. Get on with your life. And I'm not here to, really bring down the fact of, trauma then indicating the way that we move through life. But it's a very big part. It's not just experiencing the trauma. It's in the lack of community, the lack of repair or accountability that comes with it. To me, that's what actually really impacted me most. So the abandonment of the feminine, we'll just forget about it. It must have been your fault. I was 8, by the way. Do you know what I mean? All of this stuff. And that's kind of the disempowerment that men don't, the way that it's raised in the church is women are accountable for fucking everything. So men are not actually raised to be in their power of accountability. So so being raised in a society, in a culture where we're blamed for everything as women, we're bounded by the feminine. I then went out and worked in the gold mining industry. I ran stations. Oh my God. Like I used to run irrigation stations, like out in the outback. I used to look after diesel, and I'd be the only one in a camp 600 kilometers away from town, out of Kalgoorlie, on my own with my dog, and people would come out for 2 weeks at a time. I lived out there as a woman out in the, because I didn't trust women. And I knew how to compete against men. I was raised on the land. I was driving 4-wheel drives at the age of 8, driving tractors. So I knew a place amongst the masculine that was, as long as I worked 10 hours, because this is also too, I wasn't paid like the men, but I was running camps, but I got less. It still goes on in Australia, it still goes on all over the world. I had to keep on proving myself 3-4 times over. And I had to drink like a fish, like alcohol, to make sure that I could still, it's like I had to act like a man. This is also the issue with the feminist movement. It didn't bring us into our power. It required us to be men. To have a seat, to be accepted in society. Okay, if you want this, you have to act like a man. So I knew how to do that by default. I was raised hunting and fishing. I didn't trust women, and I was fucking scared of men. But I could be amongst men because I was able to compete with them, with work, with strength, productivity. Oh my fucking God, with productivity. And so it actually, you know, then when I moved into Sydney, here I was with this feeling. I'm a Scorpio. I was very sexual, but I felt like I always had to protect, like it was dangerous. I mean, it was dangerous because women was like, oh my God, look at her. She's a this, she's a that. You know, it's sort of this competition amongst women, but then it's also having to really protect my body amongst men, even though inside of me, I felt so alive in my sexuality. I was really messed up. And so I got into drugs, and I thought, oh my God, thank God, I found my answer. So how I got into the work was after I came out of the drug addiction, my counselor saved my life. And she said that to me. I remember sitting in her chair, and she's like, you hate men. I'm like, I don't hate men. I want a relationship with one. I love men. I spend all of this time with them. I was the tomboy. I'm really comfortable. And she goes, no, it's your comfort zone, but you fucking hate men. That was the hardest thing for me to hear, because I was like, you know, I'm sharing that. I don't. She goes, well, you certainly will act like it. You walk around here, you walk around with the energy of hating men. And I said, no, I'm really scared of them. And so coming, you know, like that, I think I spent 5-6 years with her. She kept me out of rehab because she had she was on 24-hour call with me. She saved my life. And she was the first one that pointed out to me, you know, I was used to not having any trust in women. That was just the norm. You don't trust women, you're in competition with them. But that was a hard pill for me to hear, that I hated men, or that I was acting as if I hated men when I'm in competition with women by default in our culture to actually win one. And I was like, holy fuck, like how does that work? And so it was very humbling for me and it was really frightening, because now I had to rewire my whole self. And then all of these series of events happen, and one of them being I was pregnant, and it was, you know, this act of, when I say act of God, like I definitely know how I felt pregnant, but all of these things that happened through my pregnancy. How much fun would that be? I don't even have to leave the house and I'm having a kid. Awesome. But you know, and when I had a boy, like I sat there looking at this child, he was placed in my hands, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know what to do with one. I don't know how to communicate well enough with his father. How am I going to raise a boy? And it's been, you know, he's about to be 17, and my huge journey through this, because I had to come to who am I as a woman to then be in front of the masculine. And so, yeah, that's why I feel like I've been on my knees, mud, scrape, there's been blood under my fingernails as I'm trying to hang on. And it's like, it still is a profound journey. It still is a huge, profound journey. So.
It just seems strange to move on from the topic of abuse straight to like premature ejaculation, but maybe there is a link also, because like I think a reason for premature ejaculation is probably also related to our suppressed emotions, and as well like not only suppressing but maybe also being completely disconnected from it, because otherwise how could you abuse someone? Like, what is your opinion on that, and what is like going on in the men you are working with? Why do they come to you? What are they going through? And yeah, maybe you could share a bit about that.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Look, we're all severed. Like when we're young children, we're all completely disconnected and made to be ashamed of our bodies. So then if we think about our culture at the moment, living up in the head, we're not connected down into, you know, especially for boys and men, they're not connected into their groin, into their power. So if we look at the maps of arousal, this is that, like, for me, this is to me where it lands well. A man's map of arousal starts at his cock, starts in his pelvis. You know, if we look at the direction of the erection, it's like, oh, I'm turned on to something. Oh, I'm excited. I'm turned on to something. His spiritual work is to bring that up into his heart, up into his head. Yeah. The woman's map of arousal is completely the opposite. If we look at yin yang, you know, we start with the head, we see something, we have to bring it down to our heart. Then we bring it down to our pussy. So and let's also bring in the our positive and negative poles. The masculine's positive pole is his cock. His negative pole is his heart. The woman's negative pole is her pussy, where the positive pole is the heart. So then we look at, that's how we, you know, these are our comfort zones, for want of a better explanation, but it's how we operate and move through the world. So men have been shamed. Like, I watched it raising my son, of how connected he was to his cock when he was excited and he was so proud of it. Now, in a safe world, you know, we go down to, we're on the beach and we're in cafes, and his natural essence was when something was exciting him, or he was also doing nothing, you know, he's just doing nothing, dropping into pleasure. So out in public, it's like, I have this barometer. I'm so excited. And he would show it, you know, and there's nothing dirty in that. But then the shame that comes to sever him, it's like, so you're not only just severing young boys and men from their cock, it's also, there's something wrong with my desire. There's something wrong with the way I want to move through the world. There's something wrong with my direction. Now, we all know, so I'm going to bring in the female example first, because this correlates in the opposite for the man. A woman's pussy takes up to 45 minutes to open, to be ready for penetration. Now, they all say, you know, to turn a woman on, you got to turn on your brain, you got to turn on her heart, like you got to turn on her brain, you've got to entice her. Is she okay? Does she feel safe? When the head is enticed and she's intrigued, her heart starts to open. Okay. And now there's safety. Only then will her pussy open. Yeah. Only then will the pussy start to open and suck the cock in. So the opposite is the same for the man. So when his desire's on and he knows then only then can his heart start to open. We're in a culture, we're going, men need to connect to their emotions. Okay. Women need to open their legs. It doesn't work. We can't, it's like, women, open your effing legs. If you want to have sex and you want to have babies and you want to just open your legs, it doesn't work. But we're demanding that from men. Connect to your emotions. Be onto it. And it's like, it's kind of assaulting when we're not taking into consideration the way energy moves through the masculine body. So we're shaming men for their turn on. We're shaming them for their desire. It doesn't go. Sexual energy is our only creative energy. Like our only sexual energy is creative energy. It's how we create. It's how we create the human person. It's how humans are walking around. It's through sexual energy. But it's our creative energy in everything. It's like the flower is the orgasm. You know, the plants. You know, doing all of this work to have the flower bloom.
Yeah.
So when we sever, and I can't speak authoritatively on this, I only can see in my work, in my feeling, like what I witness is, you know, it's like when we sever, and hurt people, a man just doesn't wake up, boom. And I actually want to bring circumcision into this because I'm really intrigued, and I want to spend my life going deeper into this type of inquiry around circumcision. But when we sever the masculine from the depth, his desire to life, and then we live in a culture where desire equals sex, and sex equals penetration. It's the only thing that we're given. Yeah. If you're horny, that means there's going to be penetration, which means there's going to be ejaculation, which means you need another body for that. Like we've dismissed and disintegrated and pulled 85-90% of the rest, and we've made it just about sex. You know, everything is about sex except for sex in our culture. So when we look at the few, or you know, the percentage of the society that's involved in violence when it comes to sex, that's a really deep topic. But it starts from being severed from who you are as a man, and women, who we are as women, the way that we move through the world. So if you want a man to open his heart, you want him to be in touch with his emotions, it's got to start at the root. It's like we're not demanding women just to fucking lay down and open their legs, but we're demanding men to be in touch with their emotions. Like I'm sorry, I swear I'm an Aussie. As I said, gold mining. It's actually a little bit insane. It's very insane because we don't have the whole picture. And this is where the time for the masculine to be really in touch with themselves and to really coming back to reclaiming, you know, who they are as men is so important, because we've done that journey a little bit with women. I would say still a little bit, because we have to get out of the fact that we've been required to be men to exist well, and to, you may get paid equally if you're lucky. Please work 3 times as much but still go home and cook, you know, like it's all of that, which is really messed up, because we've been demanded to be men, and now men are being demanded to be feminine. Yeah. So if you're going to lead from your emotions but not be connected to your sexual energy, which is the direction of the erection, then it's the same thing. We're doing the same thing to men that was required of women. Now, I mentioned circumcision before. If we go into sexual reflexology, where the meridians through the body, because this is another thing that we have in the Western world, we know all about the health of the heart, the health of the brain, how to lift weights, and we cut off the pelvis. Like I know in the US, the massage therapists are only allowed to massage women's brains, women's breasts, once they've had cancer. So once they've been ill, because we won't touch our breasts and all the lymph that actually, you know, all of the toxins are held here. You're not allowed to touch it. Please get ill first. Once you're ill, oh, by the way, now we can address it. So I'm bringing that sort of example in because we're so disconnected from our pelvic health that even, you know, there's no consideration into it. I'm not saying, all massage therapists now get to come and massage genitals, but it's an integral part of who we are as humans. And it's right in the middle of our body. It's in the apex of the body. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the meridians, when we go into Chinese medicine, you know, the meridians that run all through our body, the energy lines from your big toe, they don't miss the genitals. So the heart meridian on the man is at the tip of his penis, as well as his pineal gland, the third eye. Yeah. You know, the auricle part of the masculine is connected to the head of his penis. So when we circumcise boys, we sever into their heart and we hand them back to the mother. Yeah, they don't hand them to the father. So you have a 48-hour baby or a 24-hour baby, 3-day baby maybe, if he's lucky, he's had 3 days, who's been grown in the womb. All of this warmth and this blood comes out into the world, suckled, hopefully on demand. Whenever he needs it, he gets to hold the breast, gets to, suckle on the breast and be nurtured. Then he's cut in his heart meridian and he's handed straight back to the mother. Who the fuck can trust a woman after that? So this goes in the nervous system. Yeah. So we're looking at the severing towards the feminine from the mother figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we demand men to be in touch with, and I'm not saying every man that's circumcised is in a certain way, but he's definitely cut off from the feminine. A man's penis is designed to be more sensitive than the entrance of the vagina, because he's entering. So now we have violence towards the feminine in this micro level of violence, yeah, where what's meant to be really sensitive to enter into the universe is now numb, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
It's numbed. The heart center and the pineal glands doesn't have its meridian, connection. Yeah, so much. We can spend a whole hour talking about that if you like. So getting back to your question about premature ejaculation, I also want to bring in the this word erectile dysfunction. I want to bring that up as well, because I really want to switch that word to really empower men around this wording. But premature ejaculation, when I think of energetically, because the women I feel so much in my body. So these word premature, it's like got to get out. It's like a freedom, ejaculation provides freedom to the masculine. It's like the space of no demand for 3 seconds, or 5 seconds. It's like, I've ejaculated, boom, there's nothing, because there's nothing is worth doing to the masculine. Oh my God, you guys are amazing at it. I get really envious of me. you sit and can do nothing. It's awesome, but it's worth doing for you. It's a place that you rebuild testosterone. It's very necessary for the masculine. So, oh, that's another thing, isn't it? This freedom, the addiction to the freedom as well. It's like in this space, you're not being demanded by the feminine. You're not being made wrong by the feminine. It's just this space of nothingness, but there's an addiction to it. So getting to that. Many men are not raised to hold their truth in the face of the feminine. So ejaculation provides this freedom of and if they have prolactin, the hormone prolactin that comes through and causes the man's body to the feeling of I don't want to touch the woman, I want to fall asleep. It makes you go to sleep. Yeah. So that hormone is really elusive to the teenage boy or the young man or the older man that's not standing in his truth in the face of the feminine, because you're also taught to manipulate. You're taught to be afraid of the women. I mean, boys are raised by women that are in their masculine, demanding, and we are so in our masculine, and it's the yin yang in the opposite way of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Yeah. So when a man hasn't been raised to stand in his truth and to be in witness and to be in silence and to still hold his own in the face of the feminine. So we're looking at addiction, we're looking at angry mothers, we're looking at the world of women, the manipulation of women, then the ejaculation provides this freedom, or it's the fear of, letting go. Yeah. So we're having to the fear of being made wrong. Boys are raised all the time that they're wrong. Women are not learning how men operate, how boys operate. We're putting boys into school at the age of 5 instead of 7. The whole nervous system and the brain of a young boy is different to a girl's, and it's used as a joke. Boys are emasculated, but young boys are emasculated. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You see grandmothers with
we miss the male role models. I mean, in modern society, we the fathers are mostly away at work and or have been to war or whatever, and we're raised by women in the school, in the kindergarten. So yeah, makes sense.
And the women in the schools, in the kindergartens, and I took my child out of school at the age of 5 because of this one teacher. She hated boys. She hated boys. She was so scared of them. She didn't like men. And she had 5 boys in her classroom, and she couldn't handle their energy. So she kept trying to make them be like girls, like sit down. But a girl, Stephen Biddock speaks of this. Boys' nervous systems at the age of 5 is completely opposite to a girl's nervous system. So a young girl's nervous system, 5.5, is able to sit. A boy, they need to move their bodies and need to move their energy. You see them, they're throwing rocks. My boy was infamous. He kept saying, every time we see your boy, he's got a stick in his hand. I never noticed it because he had this autonomy and the freedom. Like of course, of like to... He used to wear tutus and he was always half naked and he'd have sticks and and he threw and he ran. So people say, oh my God, he won't sit still. And what do mothers do and what do families do with boys that won't sit still? They yell at them and tell them to sit still. I'm like, drive them to a paddock. Drive the car and let them run behind. Like, why are you it's insanity what we try to do to our boys. Get down from the tree. I had a teacher, we were in Peru, and I had him in a free schooling system that was meant to be free schooling. And she said, I need to speak to you. And, he's 8. And she's like, he keeps climbing the tree and won't come and sit down and listen to the book. I said, okay, so what sort of stories are you reading him? And she showed me the stories. I'm like, even as a girl, I'd be bored with that shit. I'm like, you want my 8? I said, if you want him to listen to you, climb the tree. Climb the tree with him, build a ladder. And he'll hurt himself. And I said, what makes you think that? He's very in his body, and if he's climbing a tree, he's confident to climb the tree. That's another thing. We disempower our boys. Every time they go to do something, you're going to hurt yourself. Boys don't do, if they've been empowered with this, if they're not in rebel, like, fuck you, I'm going to come riding my bike.
Yeah.
Of course we hurt ourselves. We all hurt ourselves. What woman gets to the age of 80 and doesn't fall down? Never. I'm always fucking stubbing my toe. It happens. But if a boy is empowered to have freedom of choice, obviously up to safety, boys don't do anything they don't think they can win at. We teach them to be stupid. We emasculate boys and we dumbify our boys because we won't give them the power to make a decision. And I watched this. I mean, I have 3D evidence of this, of 17 years raising a wild child. So I'd be in Sydney, my kid's 3. He's on it. By the way, for his first birthday, I gifted him a bike and a scooter because he was able to he was ready to ride. Yeah. But I would see this with him. He would say, I'm going to jump off the wall. And I'm like, awesome. Do you want me to stand here or do you want me to stand there so I can film you? So in that moment, he's like, let's see what she does. Let's see what the feminine does. Like, da-da-da-da. Of course, it's mother. Like, we can go really deep into this. But once he had the choice, he would look down and he's like, no, not today. He doesn't want to make a fool of himself. No man does. But we teach them to do this by robbing them of the autonomy of their choice and their freedom and to move their body. We won't let them outside. We won't let them run. They're not allowed to get dirty. If they are dirty and they're noisy, we quieten them down. It's like we're trying to... Women treat men as misbehaving. This is from Alison Armstrong, misbehaving women. We're so fucking critical of ourselves that we place that onto men. And we feminize our boys to sit still and be quiet. Like, fuck, that's the women's job. If boys can't be loud and they can't move and they can't make these choices, how the hell do we expect them as men to be in their truth in the front of the criticizing, pissed off, angry woman?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. So we have so much work to do from the beginning. So coming back to premature ejaculation, it's like it's the freedom, it's the fear. It's like, so with my male clients, like, you have to masturbate. If you're going to work with me, you're going to masturbate a lot because there's a difference between ejaculation and masturbation. Masturbation, self-pleasure, building your power, being in arousal. What do you want? Go for it. Raise it up your spine into your brain, like, go forth with your power. Ejaculation is a gift. And I empower my clients to fucking gift it to someone. You don't just throw it out like that all the time. And the woman's got to earn it. She's got to earn it from you, baby. You don't just give that shit out like it's candy. I mean, it is candy, but you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, when you get a little bit of experiencing, like with semen retention, it also changes your mind completely. Like, wow, this is so much energy. I won't just waste it, you know. Like, I mean, for me at least, but for many men I know as well, that's the experience. And I feel like it's a lot about learning to relax ourselves again. Like, it feels like ejaculation, the feeling also almost is in a way unnatural, like it's cramping, you know, it's not a choice, you know, it's just cramping out and it doesn't feel natural in a way. I mean, for me, I can speak only for me, but yeah.
Well, it's, if we also go into, I love how you've said that. And it's, you know, it's really beautiful to hear like how it feels in your body, because this contraction holding on is like holding yourself in, like not allowing yourself to be powerful. Do you know what I mean? It's like, contracting, hold on, it's fear, hold on, and oh shit, that sort of energy. Whereas when you are looking at the map of arousal analogy, this, you know, this power, this arousal is like, this is what I want to go towards. This is what I want to create. And so the map of arousal is cock. There's your desire, building your sexual energy, raising it up into your heart. Okay, world, into your brain. Now what? I mean, you guys can build fucking empires on this stuff. You protect your family, like you create, like you are so fucking powerful, rooted in your sexual energy. It's glorious.
So yeah, what is it then that we as men must learn kind of to, or how do you work with men to lead them there, and also eventually kind of give this pleasure to their partners? Because I feel like this is one of the biggest issues when I think of my former partner. I mean, the women also can have their trauma and stuff playing in, but it's also very painful to, like, you want to give this pleasure to your woman, but you just cannot, because you cannot last long enough, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Standing in the truth of the feminine. So when you know, the power that a man has in the gift to the feminine is that no matter what she throws at him, he's standing in his truth. He's standing in his power, which is the silence and the witness. Because if you think of the deep breathing, the relaxation, moving the sexual energy up your brain, you're the pillar of strength. Yeah, her pussy gets wetter, the pussy, you know, that reaches out and pulls the cock in, like she cries, she gets angry, because you've got the rod of light. You're the rod of light to her, you know, the darkness in her universe, which is all of her epigenetics, everything that's held in the vaginal walls. Like, you have this gift to come in so that if she gets sad, she gets angry, she gets horny, she gets like, she opens up more, and you pull in this cultivation of the silence, which we can equate to the truth, the witness, the power. So it's like the power, if you think, I don't know why I'm getting all of these images, like this is so glorious. This is, you know, the oracle, the feminine's the oracle. So it's like, if you think of, let's bring all this gorgeous imagery in, like the knight or the man out at war on the, you know, the Trojan, let's say the Viking, yeah? So here comes another boat landing at shore. So he's standing there still protecting. This is the power, the pillar of power. So if we look at the chaos, emotion, war, turn on, you know, all of the nymphs arrive, they come out of the water, and he's this pillar of power. Isn't that awesome? I'm so getting into, you know, oh my goodness. So how to do it is you need to master, you need to be in your truth. You need to be able, it's a cultivation of being able to be in your truth, even if it's going to hurt the woman. When I say hurt, not physically hurt, it's going to piss her off. Yeah. So it's where you start. How we do life is how we do sex. How we show up in bed is how we show up in life. So if you're always going to just give over to the feminine just because she begs for your jacket, just because she wants you inside of her, you do it. Where are you doing that in life? Honey, does this dress look good on me? And it's like, it looks fucking awful. It's draining her. Yeah, babe, it looks great. If you're lying to her there, you're going to, like, you know, be manipulated here. It's like, you know what, babe? To tell you the truth, it doesn't. You look so great in that green dress. I fucking love you in that green dress. Yeah. I don't think the yellow looks so great on you, but fuck, babe, you want to wear it? Go for it.
Mm.
So many, you know, like I'm pulling, it's like I've had to really school my son in that because we feel it. This is the other thing, we feel it in our body when you're fucking lying to us. And so this is also the anger of the feminine, a woman who knows that she's been lied to by all of these men throughout of her life. And I'm not talking about just dating. It's lying of the father, lying of the system, lying of everything, da, 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 da. And there's, you know, the horrendous dating. Oh, darling, you look, you know, all of the stuff that gets said to gleam a one-night stand. We would rather hear you say, you know what, sweetheart, or love, or what if they're using your names, you know? Do you know what, Jenny? I actually just want to have a one-night stand tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm up for. I'm leaving tomorrow. I think you're great. I'm loving our conversation. And I would like to just spend tonight with you. Are you up for that? Then we're like, do you know how many more men would actually get what they wanted? Because women would go, fuck it, you just told me the truth. Yeah, I'm going to fuck you. We want to fuck truth. We want to open to truth. We can feel it. So and then if you think of a woman that spent her whole life being lied to consistently, and we feel it, and then we told our feelings are wrong, because if we're going to go into the feminine, our felt sense, that's demonized. We're wrong. So we're mad and we're insane and we're angry. So then, of course, many men in relationships, it's this push-pull. It's like you're bringing everything from your past into it. The first steps is finding that truth, and spending time on your own. People spend too much time together, man. They really do.
Yes.
I'm infamous for saying this. I'm like, holy fuck, 7 nights a week you're having dinner? Oh, and 7 breakfasts and 7 lunches. What the fuck? You need to spend time alone. Men need to be on their mission. They need to be in their expression so they can come back and be fully, because this is the thing, a woman wants a man to be fully present, not 24/7. That's codependency and that's icky, and she's got her own work to do if she's demanding that. Yeah, I know. I work with couples, where the woman won't let. And I'm like, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well.
Yeah,
Sorry.
With my former partner as well, we have a very good contact now, and we realized that we have a son together. He's 9 now, and we also realized we didn't take enough time to be on our own and to kind of work on our own also alone, and then come back together. And that's like a really good, really important point you're making there. I feel like myself, because I feel like we lose the feeling for who we are actually, because we are always, this codependency, and then it gets difficult. Yeah.
Oh, I really love how you have had that experience. First of all, congratulations. How lucky is this young boy for you to be doing this work? I love boys. I always say I'm so glad I had a boy. So much fun. So much fun. I mean, that's the thing. Boys just want excitement. They want to have fun and excitement. Yes. Yes. I've had a wild ride with that. It's awesome. You know, what's missing in most relationships is the missing. And you were 2 individuals before you came together, and each relationship is made up of 3 people or 3 entities, person A, person B, and the person C or the entity C is the relationship. You need to nurture this. It's like if we spent our whole time at work all the time, there's no aliveness in the work. There's no aliveness in your production. There's no aliveness in the creativity if you don't walk out and come back in. So the relationship needs to be fostered and nurtured by 2 individuals that are looking after themselves. Can I give you an example of a creative solution that we had with a couple? So they had 1 child, and they were determined that that's the only child they were going to have. So it's only going to be 3 of them. Awesome. What that meant, so we created a 3-week roster. Yeah. So 1 week she could, and this is in Australia, in Adelaide. So 1 week she had freedom. When I say freedom, it's like she didn't have to be home for dinner. She could go to the library after work. She could go to the cinema with her girlfriends. That was her week. If she wanted to have dinner at home with her partner and son, She checked in. Hey, what do you guys do? She needed to ask, not like, can I? She checked in. Hey, I'm really curious. What are you guys doing tonight? We're going for pizza. Oh, I would love to have dinner with you. Is that okay? Are you willing for me to join? And then the husband, actually, do you know what? No, we're seeing Star Wars and it's just a boys' night. How about tomorrow night? Yeah, awesome. Or I'm coming home. Is there enough food? Of course, there's enough food, babe. There's plenty in the fridge. Just heat it up. Or would you like me to heat it up for you? So there's choice. The second week, it was his turn. He would go out, he'd have his boys' night, or he could just stay at work and work, like that freedom of the space of no demand of family, because they've got each other's back. Then the third week, family. So the kid gets a week of mum and her food, a week of dad, and then both of them together. Yeah. But it's not that, of course, he got more than that, because when you spend time apart, it's like, oh, do you know what I really love to do is I just want to spend Sunday with you guys. What are you guys doing? We're going to the water park. Awesome. Because if the father and the son on their week together has organized water park, if she wants to join them, if she would spend it, she's got to join in their activity. She can't come and go, oh, I want to spend time with you guys. But, you know, the manipulative of like, but, you know, I don't feel like getting wet. How about we go to the park? And then the nice guy goes, oh, sure, let's go to the park. It's a fucking disaster. He doesn't want to be at the park. She's manipulated him. He hasn't stayed in his, do you mean all of this stuff? Yeah. All of these behaviors that get, so that was just one solution. I'm not saying that works for everyone. But if you look, you're going to spend the rest of your lives together. Fucking take 1 week off every 3 weeks. It's a long haul to 95. Really, it's a long haul. So nurture yourself.
Yeah, and what I also feel is like it's about then this having this courage to be honest that you want to have time on your own, and like she will be upset maybe, or the other way around, whatever. But you then. Yeah.
That's a really great point, Felix. And that's what I come up with so many minutes like, what, you know, but it's like, but her emotions are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to the relationship. Your responsibility is to cherishing her. Your responsibility is being an integral. What are your agreements? So many people come into a relationship, no conversation on agreements. It's all assumptions. So if your agreement is that you're going to show up the best that you possibly can, then you need self-care. If your agreement is we're going to deplete each other, sure, hang out with each other all the time. Do you know what I mean? But this courage, I love that word. It's the courage. If you have a young boy that's never stood up to his mother, that wasn't able to lock his door, that wasn't given the room to make mistakes and was belittled and berated for every mistake he made. Yeah. I mean, I have had my son say, he comes to me and sometimes it says, fuck, just no matter what I do, it's never enough. And like, that's my way. It's like, we have those moments. I'm not saying I'm 100% at this, but I know how to repair. And as soon as my kid says that, I'm like, holy fuck, we don't acknowledge our men enough. So boys are not raised to being acknowledged by the gift they bring. Yeah. So this is the other thing. If we look at this, oh my God, it just brings tears to my eyes. I've had an incredible week with this sort of energetic play and communication with the boy in my house, my son. So it's so rewarding when I see it in the young. I bring up my son a lot because we're not just talking, it's this young man, this boy is going into this manhood, but he doesn't do this work. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he doesn't want to know anything about my work. I put it into practice and he shows up. So I just change the way I speak. He changes the way he takes care of the space. I change the way I ask. He can't do enough for me. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if it's working on the 8-year-old, then the 10 and the 17-year-old, 15, 16, 17-year-old, it's real stuff. So we don't acknowledge our boys enough. A young man who's, the masculine, who's his heart, he's got to see, is that okay if I do that? Will she receive it? He'll do more. Just like the pussy, you need to ears, bite the neck. Oh, that starts, a bit of a nipple orgasm. All that connects to the clitoris. Same thing with like, why would a man come in and, help move all of this furniture and be available to do everything if when he puts the dishes away, it's fucking wrong all the time? Like, we've got to think that way. It's like he comes in and he thinks to pick up eggs and avocados and bacon and comes in and we go, oh, thanks, that was great. Why the fuck would he do anything else if all he gets is, I mean, he might do it, but it's not going to be out of greatness. You're not going to receive more. And women are so concerned about all of the big stuff, and they're not starting with the first step, but they want men to open their bodies and their pussies step by step, but they're not opening their man's hearts step by step. And it comes to acknowledgement, honoring a man for his gift, honoring him for his desire, thanking him for, men are always searching for what role, what place do I have in your life? Yeah. How am I needed? Do you need me? Am I even needed? I'll just go off and do it. If you don't need me, I always say to, and every man, every client of mine, I just watch their body open. It's like, all they want to do is make their woman happy. If they can't make their woman happy, I mean, look at you, right? Oh, it's like your whole, but if you can't make your woman happy, it doesn't matter what size her bum is. It doesn't matter whether she's got, all of this stuff. I live in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, the US. So many women are cutting themselves, tattooing themselves, doing all of this shit to their bodies so that they can win a man. But the secret is that you got to let him know how he can make you happy. Let him know. Let him know. Okay, if you don't eat pizza and stuff, go, oh my God, I love that you thought to buy me food. If I was to eat this right now, I'm going to be farting all night in bed. Do you know what food I love? Is I really love the roast chicken down the road. Fucking hell, you say that to a man, you're going to have roast chicken every bloody Monday, darling. And he's going to be so happy to do it, and he'll make sure it's on his list. All we do is berate men for what they do wrong. And boys are raised knowing. Ask any man, they know what they do wrong. It's loud and clear what they do wrong. Ask them what they do right. They're like, I don't know. It's so fucking hard. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, it seems so much related to our emotions. I wanted to ask you also how we can create like this deep union, this deep connection. I had 2 weeks ago, I did a breathwork session, and what came up for me was I have this deep longing for the feminine, which never went away kind of in the relationship. It was always there. But what I also could feel, it's not only the feminine, it's like love or the joy of life itself. And it felt like I've cut myself off of that. And that was really sad for me. And I feel like, yeah, to connect, get this union, this connection, this bliss in sexuality with my partner, kind of, I have to connect to myself in the first place, probably. I don't know. Yeah. Don't know really what to say right now, but yeah, actually, I think it's coming back to the point of wanting to make my partner happy again, what you just said, wanting to make her experience this deep bliss, ecstasy, joy, and then I will have it as well eventually, I guess. But yeah.
So, I mean, I love what you say there, Alex, and thank you so much. What a beautiful thing to share. For me, it keeps coming back to when you're grounded or rooted and you've got your sexual energy and your turn on and you're here grounded. And men are often raised to believe they need to find the solution. They need to know, they need to fix it.
Yeah.
And women are raised, men never do anything right. So there's like, But also too, women, as I was saying, they don't share. Like when this deep craving for the feminine, women, they have their own work to do, that they need to come in the felt sense. You feel the world through the feminine. So when your woman's not giving you anything, you're craving her, but she's not giving you anything. So then there's you've got the protective heart. It's like, okay, and this is analogy, this is sense, the felt sense. So if she's not giving you anything to feel by, if she's not in a felt, so if she's not moving her body, if she's not embodied in her body, if she's coming home from work and she's in her masculine, you're now in two masculine energies, which is competition. She's got to get down in her body, in her feminine. So one way that invitation is, so let me create a scenario. Yeah. You come home from work. She's been working, or she's been with the child. She's in stress. She's in cortisol. Her body's full of cortisol. We have less testosterone than you, like 13 to 15% of testosterone in our bodies. So as soon as we've used, this is one really good thing to understand about the female body. As soon as we've used the testosterone, the 15% to your 100%, we go straight, our body has to produce cortisol to keep going forward. So basically 9:30 a.m. we're running on cortisol. Yeah. Cortisol starts getting produced. I mean, that's what I get up at 6. So by the time I'm 9:30, especially like I have my 3 hours on my own, doing all of this stuff. Now cortisol starts to get produced because the doing hormone testosterone is depleted. So boom, we're now producing cortisol. So if you have a woman that's been running on cortisol all day, just through default of living, she's not in her body, she's up here. So she's out of her natural state of embodiment. You walk in, you want to feel, all you can feel is like, yeah, like that's like, yeah. It's not her, it's like a survival mechanism. It's the cortisol mechanism. So one way you call her is like, babe, wow, I see you really stressed. Would you like, I'm going to go and run you a bath. If you're going to rise in polarity, it's like, you don't ask her. It's like, babe, I'm making you a cup of tea or pouring you a glass of wine. I'm taking you to the bath. I've got it. I've got you. I've got it. You just need to know I've got it. Babe, I've got it. Because you're not going to feel her while she's in her masculine energy. All you're going to feel is this competition. Yeah. And you're aching to feel her, but you're in competition to her masculine energy. Get her in the bath or cook her for whatever it is. Like, I'm going to take the kid for a walk, I'm going to take the, now she's dropping in her body. Yeah. So now she's dropping in. Yeah. Now you're going to feel her a bit more. And then it's invitations. You don't know what she wants. It's like, you hungry? Do you want me to sort food? Do you feel like salad or sushi? Yeah. I've got it. I've got you. I cannot tell the amount of even like one night stands, lovers that I've had for a week, I share with them. If you can say, I've got you in these sorts of moments, I'm like, that is the most, for me as a woman to hear, babe, I've got you. When I'm crying, when I'm angry, when I'm writhing around and all that, for a man to say, I've got you, that is the strength that I can open up into. I can feel more of my body. Because it's safety, creating safety for us to open more. So the invitation needs to be, or the direction, because you provide incredible direction. Men are fucking awesome at this. The direction of your erection. You want to feel, like you come in, I want to feel my woman. You know what you want to feel. She's out of her body. Babe, I'm pouring you a bath. I've got it. I've got it. Like our son needs to, I've got you. I've got it. Yeah, I can feed him. Easy. The other thing, this is one thing that often comes up too, is that men will say, yeah, but if I say I'm going to cook dinner and, I go to feed, I don't do it right. That's a woman's work to fucking do. That's where she's coming from. She's a masculine. She's afraid that she's not going to be right. Yeah. I used to support women in, when I gave birth to my son in the home birthing community and stuff. And I always come up with women going, yeah, but he's not, I gave my son to my partner and he fell over and scraped his knee. I'm like, all kids do that. My son does that. And like, we're so critical because women are so critical of themselves. So that's where you get to get space. Babe, I've got it. You take your kid out, feed him, just feed him the way that you need to feed him, come home, and just take care of that space where she can drop in and you can go into the bathroom and it's like, you might just start massaging her feet and start talking to her. It's like, I'd really love to. I still want to make love to you. I actually want to fuck you wide open tonight. How does that feel for you? This is another thing. If you want to feel your woman, you got to ask her how she feels. If you want to feel with the feminine, asking her what she thinks is the oxymoron, because you're getting her to think. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think we should go out for dinner or not? You ask her, especially if she's been in a masculine all day. And if you do ask a woman to think, she's just going to answer you in the masculine. If you want to feel your woman, ask her how she goes. Hey, babe, how do you feel about going out for dinner tonight? And she'll be like, you know, if she's in the bath and she's embodied, she's now in a thing and you're massaging, she's feeling you massaging her and you're touching her and she's feeling, you go, how do you feel about getting a babysitter and we, you know, we start fucking each other tonight? And she'd be like, that feels amazing. Or she'd be like, I feel so exhausted, babe. I feel like there's nothing in me to do that. Now, you're not getting a rejection. You're getting how she feels about it. So, okay, I get that. How about I take care of dinner? And you're not taking care of dinner to manipulate so you can fuck her. You're just like, yeah, she feels exhausted. And a woman's going to like, oh, yeah, I've had a bath. Oh, he's cooked dinner. And you just start canoodling her. And then she like, oh, her pussy's like, okay, I've been taken care of. This is safe. I can say no, because it's also the safety in her no. Yeah. It's a dance. You don't have the solutions. You're just providing a space for her to feel into. And there's offerings of which way can she go. Yeah. And that's where no matter what the feminine throws at you, you're in your power. So this is the other thing around when men are in premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction. I'm going to get to that. Erectile dysfunction, it's like they're needing this space that they need to be inside of the woman to have their sex, whereas life is sex. Massaging your woman's foot in the bath, gazing, glistening at her glistening pussy in the water, that is sex. If you're breathing that in, that's being in touch with you're breathing that in, you're turned on by your woman and you're breathing, you get to, then you vocalize that. It's like, holy fuck, babe. I know you're talking to me right now, but Jesus, I've just got to let you know your breasts look fucking phenomenal in the water. They look so beautiful. You fuck, babe. Have I told you today you're so beautiful? That's fucking her wide open because you're like, yeah, you're fucking her mind. You're fucking with her mind. She's just said no, she's exhausted. But you're letting her know your desire, but you're not having to take from her to have that desire. Oh, babe, your tits look great. You know, come on, let's fuck. It's like, no, that's taking. I'm going to compliment you. Now I need your body. Yeah. This power, the pillar of strength is like, I have desire.
So it's
I have desire.
learning to handle it in yourself.
And she's like, even describing the situation, my body's like, like, you know, yum. Because even if I'm exhausted and I've got the man who's not needing and taking from me, but he's sharing his desire with me, there's more yeses that come about. It's a yes. You know, we're changing all the time. David Data says this in The Way of the Superior Man. And he talks about this, about where the woman's always going to be changing her mind, not because she's pathetic and silly and annoying. Every single moment's fucking different. She's laying in the bath, you're massaging her feet that are, you know, that are aching, and she's feeling that. And you say, I'd love us to fuck each other tonight. She's exhausted right at that moment. So she's going to share with you. That doesn't mean in half an hour that exhaustion is the same driving force in her moment. Yeah. So it's not this also thing comes, if I tell her all those things, I can manipulate her. We can feel it when it's manipulation, when it's truth of desire, and you don't need her to fix it. You don't need her to take care of it. That's that cultivating your sexual energy. You don't need the feminine to take care of your desire, which is what we're taught in porn. We're taught with, you know, the lack of sexual education. If you have desire, you've got to find someone to fuck it out, you know. Then you're this pillar of strength. You're at I love this scene. I'm so into the bath scene. You're at the end of the bath with your, you know, with your gorgeous lumberjack shirt on, and you're just standing there, and she's just like, you are in power of your desire. You're expressing it. She doesn't have to do anything about it, but her body wants it. She'll start pulling you in. It might take an hour, it might take 2 hours, it might take 5 minutes. You might find yourself fully clothed in the bath scene, you know, but it's this, you have desire, you express it. she's eliciting that desire out of you. How gorgeous, what a gift that is, and what a gift you are to her, to adore her and honor her and bring her into her body. You're bringing her into her body. She doesn't have to think about anyone else or what did the food, the babysitter, all of that stuff. You're reminding her of her. You get to remind her of her. The invitation, you're inviting her into her body. You're inviting her to her breast. You're inviting her to her hair. Oh, fuck. Men are such gifts when they're in the power of their desire.
Yeah, that sounds like a big motivation to start to practice. Like, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And get a bathtub.
Great. Oh, yeah. One thing I'd love to hear about, because this is not as much talked about, the erotic blueprints. I heard it the first time when I received your newsletter once. Like, where does it come in if you have enough time? Yeah.
I do. Yep. I can. Yep. Let's keep going. I'm very sorry, because I just have someone arriving at my door, but that's good. In 11 minutes, I think. But we are in Mexico, so he could be late.
And then we can move on for you to share what you are offering also and where people can find you. So, yeah.
So what I love about the erotic blueprint, this changed the face of my ability to support my clients. It really changed the way I even move in the world. Most people have heard of the love languages, the 5 different ways we give and receive love, which is indicative to each person. So the erotic blueprints is actually 5 different ways that our nervous system tritates to turn on. So this is also what happens is the shutdown is that we've fed this way that sex needs to happen, but that's only one way. It's kind of like expecting everyone to receive love by touch, or by acts of service. So the 5 erotic blueprints, they are the energy, and this is not hierarchical: energetic, sensual, sexual, kink, and shapeshifter. So someone who's highly energetic, who's with, and you do not need to be the same erotic blueprint to be in partnership. Let me tell you, that is not at all necessary. But let's just take, for example, someone who's energetic, where they're turned on by space, and they're turned on by, they can have an orgasm by eye gazing with their partner 3 meters away, or just sitting here. The tantra is really evolved around the energetic. But if someone is sexual, who's quick, they're easily aroused, and this is, our society's really, it's societal's acceptance on sex toys, quick to arouse, you look sexy, you got a short skirt on, it's done, and it's not always men that are sexual. I support a lot of men that are energetic and their female partners are sexual. But if we think of, this is how the nervous system shuts down, this is the shadow of not understanding this. So a sexual is like, he walks in and his partner's like, bending over, getting something out of the cupboard, and he comes home and her gorgeous ass, boom, and now he's got desire, and he goes and grabs her. Now, if she's energetic, especially if she hasn't heard him come in the door, that, the energetic needs the tritating. Okay, you're coming home. Okay, you're in the door. Okay, you're in my space. Especially if she's been at home, or she's been in the house for 2-3 hours and she's been doing her own thing. She's in her own energetic space. Boom. It's not that she's rejecting him and she's not ready. And it's not that, it looks like rejection, but the thing is, the whole energetic system has been collapsed. It's like, boom, Yeah. So the sexual in this, and it's the same thing with kink, the shadow side of kink is this belief that there's something wrong with them, that, they're not normal. So they will close down their desires. The sensual is turned on by all of the 5 senses. So the music, I'm going straight into the shadows. The music, if you're making love to your partner and the music changes, or the candles go out, or, a truck goes in the street and this noise goes in the street, that's going to grate on the nervous system. So if you, as someone who's inviting a lover in, and they make sure the bed's made and all of that stuff, like a sexual doesn't give a fuck. If your partner's a sexual, you can fuck on the unmade bed, with the dog in the room, doesn't give a fuck. We're going genitals, boom, boom, boom. But if your partner's a sensual, and you've got the dog in the room and the bed's not made, they'll be like, no thanks. And it's this incredible, is that whole thing about love language. The man that's fixing all the light globes and you know, fixing the chairs and making sure the water comes well out of the shower head, and make sure there's food in the fridge. And the woman who loves touch is going, he doesn't fucking love me, he never touches me. And he's like twisting himself in a pretzel, showing how much he loves her. And it's that missing. It's the same thing with the erotic blueprints. It's phenomenal when we have this understanding. So now we create these incredible invitations and understanding of what we need, because it's not just around sex, it's how we do life. You can always tell a sensual's house if you walk into someone's. I mean, I'm in my sensual right now, like all of my cushions, the candles of, you know, my workspace is very sensual. So I'm in my creative zone. I've got friends who are so sexual. I go into their house and but they're just like boom, 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 you know, typing away in their work because they don't need their aesthetics. Yeah. So yeah, that's all of that.
Yeah, that seems really, really valuable. Like it can help so much. Yeah. And avoid misunderstanding and stuff, you know, problems that if you know this stuff, maybe wouldn't have to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Yeah, Melissa. So share a bit what you have coming up and how people can find you. Yeah, what you have to offer.
Oh yeah, so for you glorious men, because I love men so much, I have a course called Occupy Your Cock, because I'm like, when you occupy your cock energy, then the whole world changes. So and you know, it's all of my expression with men is called that. So I have a 5-week 5-week mentorship course. It's the course, but also we're going to be doing it live. So that starts, I'm pretty sure it's the 17th, if that's a Monday, the week after Easter, the 17th of April. So that's going on, and the link will be here included to book into that, which is really exciting. So we're going to be doing tantric processes using accelerated evolution to be removing charge and integrating polarities I use that modality to work with my clients. So you will have the course, and then we'll have our coaching call every week for 5 weeks. Other than that, I take clients on for 3 months to 6 months. I take couples on as well, and I also take women on if you have partnerships and stuff. But as men, it's my happy place. You're really working with men one-to-one in 3 months or a 6-month container. And you can book a discovery call and let's get on and have a chat to see if we're a good fit, you know?
And also I would recommend your Instagram and also your newsletter, because I feel like you are really inspiring, but also sometimes very honest and hard, which is really good, because it's like, as a man, it's sometimes important to look at stuff you haven't been thinking about, also which role we've been playing, and it's over the long term, it's really, really valuable. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. I know sometimes too, and this is, you know, I go through different energetics of how I present things, because I'm a shapeshifter and nothing. And that's actually one thing that I want to bring, you know, the way that the blueprints came into my life. I had so much sort of imposter syndrome and shame that I wasn't into all of the tantric communities, or, you know, like like what I was like, fuck, how can I be a sexual educator and stuff like that if I don't feel comfortable in? And I was really confused why I wasn't into that space all the time. But I'm a shapeshifter. Bring it on, man. I can sit there and do all of the, you know, the breath work and be in the space and stuff. But you know what? Fucking tie me upside down. And if you're not going to do that, I can't stay in this tantric space being the shapeshifter. So I also see that in my expression in my Instagram. It's like sometimes I am. It's real. Of course, we need the safety, and sometimes it's sort of more of the straight to the point, you know. You're not getting it. Well, I'm not getting it. I'm not seeing this and straight there. And hard truths. It's radical honesty. We don't have enough radical fucking honesty on the planet. It's another thing. Working with men, it's getting into radical honesty. So I'm really glad you appreciate it. And I can imagine that sometimes, yes, it's not so, oh, that was not nice.
It's important. Yeah. It's important, and to look at ourselves and find ourselves in it, or to recognize patterns and stuff.
Awesome.
Melissa, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all your knowledge with me and the audience.
Felix, it's such my pleasure, and thank you for this space. You know, I just feel like I can really be me. I know I get like like that in my feminine sense. So thank you so much for receiving me. Thank you so much for doing this. It's so important. And yeah, I respect you so much for doing this. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.